The Last Photo, Episode 001, The Midnight Archive Genre, Psychological Mystery. Approximate duration, 9:55. Language, English screenplay/narration. By the time I understood what was wrong with the photograph, smoke was already coming through my mother's windows. The picture showed me kneeling in the rain, holding her against my chest. There was blood on my left sleeve and the face of my watch was cracked. In the bottom corner it said Monday, October 21st, 4:17 p.m. The problem was, when I first saw it, it was still Sunday. I worked nights at a photo lab in Bellwether. Passport pictures, funeral enlargements, Christmas cards in August. Most of the job was fixing little things people wished the camera hadn't noticed. On Sundays, I walked the market under the railway bridge because it was easier than going home and sleeping badly. That morning, an old woman had a camera on a table between a box of bent cutlery and 6 dead alarm clocks. It was an ARX7. Nothing rare, nothing valuable. The same model my father used when we were kids. She wiped the lens with the corner of her scarf and said, almost to herself, "It only takes one good picture." I asked, "Does it work?" She said, "It did for the last person." I thought that was sales talk. I paid $12 and carried it home under my jacket. The battery still had a charge. The memory card had one file. At first I thought the man in the picture only looked like me. Bad light does that. So does a guilty imagination. Then I saw the scar in my eyebrow, my jacket, my watch. I zoomed in until the pixels broke apart, and there was my mother, in my arms outside Bellwether Laundry, the building she lived above. We hadn't spoken in 2 years. After my sister Lucy died, my mother called every night for a while. I watched her name appear on the phone and told myself I would answer when I knew what to say. Eventually, she stopped making it ring. The awning in the photograph was blue. The last time I had been there, it was green. My sleeve was torn. The watch crystal had a crack running from 2 o'clock to the center. I stood too quickly, caught the camera before it fell, and struck my wrist against the steel edge of the desk. The crack in my watch ran from 2 o'clock to the center. I called my mother 3 times. Her recorded voice said, "You know who this is?" I heard the beep. I still couldn't find a first sentence. Monday morning, the awning was blue. 2 painters were pulling the last strip of paper from the sign. My mother opened the upstairs door in a rust-colored cardigan. She looked smaller than I remembered, and exactly as difficult to fool. "You're either lost or something's broken. I was nearby. You live 40 minutes away." I asked about the smoke alarm. The battery door was open. She said it had been chirping and the landlord was coming next week. I told her to spend the afternoon somewhere else. "You disappear for 2 years and now you're inspecting my ceiling? I thought you might need me. That would be new." She regretted it as soon as she said it. I could tell because she straightened a cup that was already straight. I could have told her about the camera. Instead, I left. At 4:12, I was parked across the street feeling stupid. At 4:16, I decided I was done letting a photograph tell me who I was. Then the lights inside the laundromat went out. For half a second, nothing happened. Then a woman came out coughing. Someone shouted that smoke was in the back room. I looked up and saw it press against my mother's window from the inside. I don't remember crossing the street. I remember the metal stairs moving under my boots. I remember the door burning my palm and the glass panel breaking when I hit it with my elbow. My mother was on the kitchen floor beside the table, awake but confused. She kept trying to reach for a cardboard box. "The photographs. Leave them. Your sister. Mom, look at me. Leave them." I got her arm over my shoulder. The hallway disappeared in smoke 3 steps from the door. I followed the cold air coming under it. Outside, rain hit my face so hard it felt clean. We made it to the curb. I went down on one knee because my legs had stopped agreeing with me. My left sleeve was torn. Blood ran from my elbow. My watch was cracked. The church clock changed to 4:17. My mother opened her eyes and gripped my jacket. Across the road, something flashed once, not lightning, more like light catching a lens. When I looked again, there was nobody there. The doctors kept her overnight for smoke inhalation. They put 3 stitches in my arm and gave me a paper cup of coffee that tasted faintly of cardboard. For 20 minutes, my mother and I watched rain move down the hospital window. I kept calling after Lucy. I know. Why didn't you answer? I thought if I heard your voice, I'd say it was your fault. Was it? No. But I needed it to be somebody's. I needed it to be mine. There wasn't a sentence that could fix what we had done with those 2 years. So I stopped looking for one. I let it ring. So did I. I missed you. I know. She moved her hand across the blanket, not quite asking. I put mine beside it. That was enough for one night. The camera was still on the passenger seat. The photograph was gone. Not deleted. Gone. The card showed empty, and the shutter wouldn't move. I had printed the image before I went to see my mother. I kept the print in the inside pocket of my jacket. The next Sunday, I went back to St. Alda Market. The table beneath the blue tarp was empty. There was a pale circle in the dust where the camera had been. The market manager checked his clipboard twice. No June Vale. You sure it was this row? Table 7. This row stops at 6. He said it without mystery. He was cold and wanted to go home. I knew how that sounded, so I thanked him. I took the camera with me. It sits in a locked drawer at the lab. I have tried 3 batteries and 2 memory cards. It has never turned on again. My mother moved to a smaller apartment in November. I installed 2 smoke alarms. She made tea. We ran out of things to say after 11 minutes, but this time silence was only silence. It wasn't an ending. Months later, I found the print from the camera in my desk. I almost threw it away before I noticed my mother's hand. In the photograph I first saw, it hung loose against the pavement. Now she was awake. Her fingers were wrapped around my torn sleeve. On the back was a faded purple stamp I had never seen before. Archive. 07. Complete. I don't know whether the camera warned me or simply knew what I would choose. I only know some calls do not come twice. Would you have gone to the building?